Welcome to the quick hitter version of the Mike Wise Show. On this week's version, we talk about the Milwaukee Bucks winning the NBA title and the incredible emergence of the great Giannis Antetokounmpo. We counted this guy out about 3 times this postseason between the bad free throws, a couple of blown missed opportunities in other games, including the Brooklyn series. And I don't think anybody saw them winning this until they actually won Game 5. I think people we say the Suns in 6 or 7. Most people said the Suns in 6 or 7.
I had predicted Suns in 7, but I also could never have predicted that Giannis Antetokounmpo would have hit 17 of his first 18 free throw attempts with everything on the line in Game 6. But, you know, it's funny. On July 6th, the day of Game 1, we weren't even sure if Giannis was going to play in the finals. He had that hyperextended knee in Game 4 against Atlanta in the Eastern Finals. But we did have a little bit of an inkling that things might not have been super bleak, because if you remember, during Games 5 and 6 against Atlanta, he was on the bench. He was standing up, stalking the sidelines the entire game. And I thought to myself at that point, okay, you know, there's hope here for Milwaukee fans. But he has certainly placed himself in the pantheon, which is not Greek like the Parthenon, but the pantheon of NBA Finals performers, with so many memorable moments. And it was just remarkable to see. And we're both so happy for our friend of the show, Milwaukee Bucks owner Mark Lasry and his family. Wonderful job.
Okay, well, so we need to get him on. Lasry, tell him, hey, congratulations. Now come on our show. We had a lot to do with your success this year. Actually, we had nothing to do with it. That show happened 2 years ago. But nonetheless, it'd be nice to hook up with the billionaire again that's not in Dallas. I will say this. This was the greatest moment involving, basically putting the NBA and Greece together. This is the greatest moment since Shaquille O'Neal visited Athens as a young rapper. And he was asked by Kelly Naki of ESPN, what did you think of the Parthenon? And Shaq looked at her deadpan and said, I don't know. I didn't go out to any of the clubs.
Well, you know what's with Giannis's, indelible stamp on this. One of the things that nobody really talked about during the finals, and I suppose it was understandable, the international takeover of the NBA by players not born in North America. This is yet another exclamation point in that story.
Well, I was saying, and I think I tweeted this last night, that wherever David Stern is now, he's smiling somewhere, because he's the one who saw that this game could become global. And when a person who grew up selling mangoes on the streets of Athens when he was a child becomes the MVP of the finals and wins the championship of America's game. I mean, it says so much. And you just go down the list: the Dream Team, Dirk Nowitzki, now Luka Doncic, Nikola Jokic, God, who am I missing? Oh, Joel Embiid. I mean, it keeps going on and on. And I keep thinking to myself, I remember that story of the guy, I can't remember his name, from Argentina, who had a little station. He bought the rights from David Stern to televise games in Argentina. And sure enough, Manu Ginobili, instead of having a poster of Maradona on his wall, grew up with Michael Jordan. And Manu Ginobili became an four-time NBA champion. He'll go down in the Hall of Fame, not just because of what he does as a player, but what he does as an international basketball player for Argentina. And so you're right. This here's the thing. Brian Scalabrine brought this up on the Sirius radio show, and he's brought it up numerous times. And it's like, why don't current players give Giannis his due? And I don't know what that's about. I think it probably has something to do with the foreigner aspect. And I know that Chris Paul had a long-standing relationship with LeBron James. But it was funny how LeBron was tweeting 1 down, 3 to go, 2 down, 2 to go, after Chris Paul won his first 2 games. And all of a sudden last night, he's like, Giannis is hooping tonight. Like, all right, and all of a sudden, ooh, King James gives him some love. will the other NBA players fall in line? And what is that about? And I go back to the whole, not only I don't want to call it xenophobia, but I think that there's something about like Steph Curry, when he became so good, so popular, there was almost a backlash against Steph Curry by the other players. Like, oh, he's not hard enough. Like he came from this. And I think it was because we, the media, we like good guys, and Giannis is a good guy. And so Chris Paul can rub people the wrong way. I see him and he knows my face, but it's like I'm sure he grates on a lot of reporters. He has a chip on his shoulder for life. That's who he is. And so, but Giannis is this guy that's just, he's in love. He's in love with not himself, but life. And whenever he speaks to somebody, and whenever he does something charitable, whenever he makes somebody feel good, we see that and we go, wow, this is great. And I think it's a backlash. Like the media loves the guy so much, so therefore we can't give him our due.
It's
and I
hard.
think we saw it with Steph Curry, and we did it and it's happened with Giannis. And I just hope that players understand that this is one of not only the premier players in their game, but right now the best and the top of his game. And I would call, I always said this: Paul Pierce, 2008 Finals. He wins the MVP. I don't care if Shaquille O'Neal was in the league. I don't care if Kobe Bryant was in the league. At that moment, Paul Pierce was the best player in the game. And I would say that about Giannis after last night.
It's hard not to root for a guy like Giannis because for just so many reasons, some of which you already covered, as far as his humble beginnings and where he started and where he's gotten to. But there's a few other things here. Number one, Milwaukee has never been considered a sexy destination for superstar players. And in this age where players can control their own destiny by going ahead and hooking up with their friends, Giannis kind of took a little bit of a swipe at those guys last night in some of his post-game comments. He said, we did this the hard way. Basically what he was saying, I could have went to another team. I could have done my part and won a championship, but he stayed in Milwaukee. The management there did a wonderful job surrounding him with some of the kind of glue guys like, Drew Holiday, PJ Tucker, those sorts of guys to help him do what he did. But this is, an unbelievable achievement. And really for a franchise like Milwaukee, which, had never really recovered from Kareem Abdul-Jabbar leaving there in the mid 1970s. They never really even got back to the NBA Finals until this year. So there's that. And then there's also this little historical tidbit. And again, I didn't look this up, but there are now 3 Antetokounmpo brothers with championship rings. Giannis, of course, Thanasis, who was unable to be there on Tuesday night because of the COVID, and I'm sure that was deeply, disappointing for Giannis, considering what a family guy he is. And Kostas, who picked up a ring in 2020 with the Los Angeles Lakers.
Right. He talked about that last.
Yeah, so you've got 3 brothers from Greece whose names barely fit on the back of their jersey with chips, and that's just a nice little footnote to this whole thing.
If you want to hear more, check out the full version of the Mike Wise Show from Pure Hoops Media. You can also see the video version of the Quick Hitter on the Pure Hoops Media YouTube channel.